Welcome, Eric Johnson, EJ the DJ here, and I'm very excited, very honored to have our next guest join me from the great state of Kansas and points in between. Fan of his father's, and I'm just more of a fan of him to this day. It's none other than Ned LeDoux. Ned, appreciate the time, my friend. I'm glad that you're able to join me.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I know you've been very busy. Always the first question I ask, talking to everybody, what you doing today? Where are we at and what are we doing?
Actually, at home for a few days, just kind of hanging out in the garage, and
Yeah,
but yeah, just taking care of the kids, and but mom's in there right now, watching them for the time being.
good deal. You got how's summer been? You able to spend some time with the family so far or not?
Yeah, they've actually come out to quite a few shows this year, and yeah, the last one that we did, uh, well, Chris LeDoux Days was the
Hmm.
big family event. The final Chris LeDoux Days, 15 years, and I think we
Yeah.
had about 6,000 people show up to the last one, and so that was a great event. And who knows, maybe down the road we'll come up with something else, but it was fun while it lasted.
Well, yeah, you 15 years. I mean, Casey is it seems like it's the home base for a lot of great rodeo action. Of course, lots of great music. Your family integral part of it. I know. Just taking a look at the pictures. I mean, you had everybody up there on stage, and it was
Yeah.
sort of symbolic. Tell us, you know, Chris LeDoux days. I mean, how it meant to you. I mean, meant to the family, meant to your career. I guess. Talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, it was just it's like a celebration of life, for dad. We got this park that we all put together as a family with this life size and a half bronze statue of him. And to tell you the truth, I think the idea was just to do it, like have this big unveiling back in 2010. And then that was going to be it. Just kind of like, here's this park. We got dad's statue, and we had some music, earlier in the or later on in the day. And then we got to talking about, like, maybe we could do this like every year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we could. There's something here, and so yeah, it's just been a great ride. And my mom is the one who puts the whole thing on, and and then
Booking it
my
and everything?
huh,
Doing the booking and all that stuff?
yeah, yep,
Wow, good for
yeah,
her.
yeah, and yeah, she lines up everything, and of course, me and the rest of the siblings, we do our best to help her out as well, but
Of course.
uh, pretty much everything is on her shoulders, and she's the one making all the decisions. So she was like, "Hey, how about 15 years? Let's just go out guns a blazing, because we got Sawyer Brown uh,
Yeah.
to play it this year, and she's been trying to get those guys in there for 2 or 3 years." And so it's like, well, it'd be kind of hard to top that.
Yeah, no
And
kidding. No kidding.
so
How
yeah, and like I said, I
was
mean, we had this little town of KC, like 250 people,
yeah.
6,000 people showed up and filled the streets.
Well, I know me personally, I'm oh God, what is it from my place to KC from it's about a good 11-hour drive. And I'm like, you probably hear it a time or two. I mean, I just love listening to your dad, and I was like, that was one of the things. It was damn near a bucket list item. I had to go see the horse and
Mhm.
see the statue, and my compliments, and it's just true test to your dad's legacy, and I think you guys knocked it out of the park and then some.
Yeah, and I'm sure he'd probably say, "Yeah, don't be doing anything like this for me." But I also like to think he's probably got a pretty good grin on his face about it all.
Well, just seeing you grow up and mature into your career, and not there's a lot of them, and I don't know if you probably noticed that too, that kind of ride the coattails a little bit. You're not riding the coattails, you're honoring your father, but you're also paving your own path. And it's been trying, to say the least. I mean, but I was listening to the duet you did with, well, your dad did his last session before, one hand on the rigging. My God, talk about tugging on the heartstrings a little bit. I was like, mercy. I couldn't imagine what it was feeling like for you, but how did did you know about this before he passed, or how did this all come about?
Yeah. So I think it was like 22, maybe 23 years ago, and there was this young up and coming singer songwriter by the name of Bryn Hill from the Ogden, Utah area, and he was a big fan of Dad's and still is, and but he got to be friends with Dad's keyboard player Bobby Jensen, who had a studio in his house, and I think Bryn and Bobby lives in Ogden as well, so Bryn got to be friends with him, and I think he would go into the studio and just do some demo stuff, and anyway, Bryn had written this song, One Hand in the Rigging, and he thought, I think he was talking to Bobby. He said, well, you think Chris would sing on this with me? And Bobby said, well, we can go ask him. And so Dad took a listen to it and said, yeah, let's go in the studio and I'll lay down a vocal track. And that would be the last time Dad was ever in a studio and the last song he ever sang in a studio. And but the part of the story that I don't know all the details about is Dad's vocal part didn't make the song. And I mean, the song was still released over
Yeah.
20 years ago on Bryn's album, but Dad's part, uh, Bryn said, yeah, I just kept it in my gun vault, just on this disc or hard drive or whatever it was on.
Heck yeah. Yeah.
And so in those days, I was playing drums. I wasn't, the thought of even stepping up to a mic and singing, that wasn't even an idea. But I had known about this song and I knew that only a handful of people had ever heard Dad sing it. Well, I got to be friends with Brent over the years, and we'd always catch up in Elko, Nevada for the Cowboy Poetry Gathering. And I was kind of getting into writing some new songs for this new album. And he came up to me. He said, "Well, I've been thinking about this a lot." He said, "You're going to be going in the studio pretty soon." He said, "I'm thinking maybe the timing wasn't right, way back then, 22, 23 years ago."
Understandable.
And he said, maybe the Lord just has a plan for something else. And I said, what do you think it is? He said, well, I think it's going to be a duet with you and your dad. He said, and it's kind of like his way of like giving me the blessing and the okay to have it. And
Wow.
because it wasn't like an AI thing,
No.
at all. I mean, I haven't had anybody ask me if it was that or not, but I said, well, no. And it wasn't like I went back into Dad's catalog and just, hand selected a song from his old albums or something. This is a song before we released it. 3 people probably heard Dad sing it, so yeah, we went in the studio and, did all the tracking and everything. And then my producer, the great Mac McAnally, he plugged in Dad's vocal to it. And yeah, I mean, just the chills. That is definitely one of the coolest things I ever got to do.
I mean, just you gotta. Did your mom get a chance to hear it before you started working on it, or did she wait until you had the finished product together?
Yeah, we waited until it was completely done. And then
Yeah.
I wanted to be with her when she heard it for the first time. And she was
Good.
like, wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Man. Just remembering um and you probably hear all the stories too. Feel like for me, uh I got my very first autograph from your dad when he was at Nebraska State Fair. And it
Oh yeah.
was at the time it was a CD cover, and I had it and I stuck it in. I was so proud of it. Well, fortunately we had some issue, with our kid and getting for a doctor bill, and I had to part ways with it, and it just kills me to this day. But that was my one first time, and your dad, just a lot, getting a chance to talk to you and just the mannerisms. It just like I you just feel the genuine. It was when listening to it, it just brought me back to that point when I first met him. It was just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, he was one of a kind, that's for sure. Yeah.
Amen. Amen to that. But you talk through and you got a lot of opportunities, of course, making sure not only that song, but you got Safe Haven, which is out now, by the way, folks. Make sure and tune in. Spotify, wherever you get your music from. But opportunity, you got some music on there that is gaining some traction. Talk to us a little bit about Safe Haven.
Yeah, so the first single we released is called Boys Growing Up. And it was sent to me. The one thing about this album versus the first three I put out is I only wrote half of these songs. On the first three albums, I wrote, definitely the lion's share. But I just had some really good songs sent to me. And Boys Growing Up was one of them. And it was written by Corey Kent. And the version that was sent to me was just an acoustic vocal, more or less like a demo.
Mhm.
And I got to listening to it. And first of all, it just kind of reminded me of like me and my brothers, working on the ranch and, maybe getting in a few fights between the four of us, but always making up,
Yeah.
and even though now we're all grown up and got kids of our own, it just seems like every time we get back together, we, reminisce about, the old days working on the ranch or going to town or whatever. Um, but yeah, I think it's at number 40 on the Music Road chart right now, and
Very
so that's
good.
that's kind of exciting. Yeah.
That is awesome. That's awesome. Well deserved. That's, have you thought about it too? What when kind of brought it back at your dad? Have you thought about how different the the streaming media has been for your career? I mean, could you imagine? Could your dad adapt to that too? I guess. I mean, just how everything has changed in the music industry.
Yeah, I've thought about that a number of times, and even with like cell phones, back
Yes,
when dad was still around, everybody, if you had a cell phone, it was a flip phone,
or a bag phone.
yeah. Yeah, so the things that we've been using now for a number of years, didn't exist back then, and CDs were still a thing, and we still sell CDs. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll always be a fan of the physical product. Um, but I imagine, he would have to adapt in some way or another, but he'd probably
yeah.
have somebody else do it for him.
But we're talking here with Ned LeDoux. He's coming through Nebraska very soon. Pit stop over at the Saline County Fair coming up in Crete. Can't wait because he's got none other than Casey Chestnut alongside him for the ride. And Casey, have you guys been able to perform together or meet up on the road?
Yeah, we played together toward the end of maybe it was the first part of this year, in El Campo, Texas.
Nice.
And so yeah, I got to visit with him for yeah, good guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And taking an opportunity there. I mean, kind of see some elements back and forth. The next generation of the music, and God, you guys both sound like your counterparts really well. I mean, he's coming through. He's got his own elements from his dad's music and yours. Tell us a little bit about people coming out seeing Ned LeDoux live or experiencing a concert like this out here at the county fair. What do people get to see here at Saline County Fair coming up?
Well, we just like to have a lot of fun. As far as the set list goes, you're going to hear the majority of stuff is going to be my songs. But the one thing that we've always done and will always do is sing some of Dad's old classics. When I did get into singing, that's all I ever learned. And even to this day, I never bothered learning anybody else's songs except for his.
Yeah,
But yeah, we love to interact with the crowd and just have fun, and playing county fairs are a lot of fun. They're a family event, and you see the little kids in the front playing in the dirt, and they don't care what's going on up on the stage. They got their cotton candy and their hot dogs, and so yeah, we're looking forward to it.
of course, I was taking a look at your schedule this summer and on. You're looking to be pretty busy. I mean, tell me a
Yeah.
little bit. Well, you're going to parts in between here around the Midwest, and uh, man, it's looking great for you guys. What's the highlights you get to go see here this summer or on the road? What's your favorite kind of food that you're going to be tackling while you're on tour?
Well, we can all agree on Mexican.
Yes,
As far
amen,
as all the guys in the band,
amen.
and if there's a good sushi place, a few of us, kind of dip into that. But besides playing the shows, which we're all looking forward to, um, we're looking forward to playing a lot of golf.
Nice.
Yeah, we're gonna be. That's what we do on our days off. There's like everybody in the band except for one or two guys, will play golf. But yeah, Yeah,
Pretty
but yeah,
avid golfer or
I would
kind of
call
recreational?
more of a seasonal golfer, maybe.
Gotcha, gotcha.
It's like so spring into late fall, and then I put them away in the wintertime because it's just a little chilly out there.
I kind of make the joke. I says I can crack open a beer pretty easily and drive a golf cart if that's my golf game. One
Yeah.
of those deals.
Yep. Yep.
But I guess before we get going, I know I've always wanted to ask you this since a while since we talked. You still doing skull painting, by the way, or you have
uh,
had time to do that yet?
I haven't done one in a couple of months, but I do have one back here that's all prepped and ready. But I'll probably have to wait to do that
I was gonna say for a while.
in the fall or the winter time. Yeah, but I still do every now and then.
Yeah, I was gonna say because the last time we talked, it's been about 4 years ago. But I know it was during the pandemic. Of course, you had plenty of
Yeah,
time for painting. But yeah, I mean, that's such a raw talent. That's what I liked about you. And I'm like, God, I hope he's still doing that. I was gonna hope to ask you that before we get going. But
yeah.
such a good talent you got there. I tell
Well,
you what,
thanks.
it's
Well, thank you. Yeah,
yeah.
I got a couple of buffalo skulls hanging up in here that need a little bit of color to them. So yeah, I'll get to it.
Well, awesome, man. Well, hey, we can talk here a day or two and six pack in between, but I know you're busy. I appreciate it as always. Of course, can't wait to see you at the Saline County Fair coming up this week. Uh, Safe Haven, make sure get a CD. If not,
Yeah,
stream it on
yeah.
platforms, but make sure and go stop at Walmart or somewhere and get yourself a CD, a vinyl. You're not doing cassettes, are you, or is that too early yet?
Oh, we probably won't go that far.
I was gonna say, I didn't say 8-track because we're not going that far back. But
Yeah, I know. I know. There's a lot of groups out there that are doing the cassettes, but yeah, we'll probably just do CDs and vinyl.
I was gonna say that's enough old school right there to justify it. So
Yeah.
make sure check him out online and all the social medias. Ned LeDoux, he's everywhere, and of course, if you want to take part in looking at some of the stuff from his dad's side, chrisledoux.com. Got a lot of information there as well about his dad, and of course, thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Always good talking to you, and Godspeed. We'll see you soon. Okay.
Okay. Good to see you. Thanks.